Good morning, children. How are you, children? I hope you all fine. Children, in the previous class, we all learned about the methods of reproduction in plants, isn't it? What are the methods of reproduction in plants? Vegetative, asexual and sexual, isn't it, ma? Which is the sexual reproductive part of a plant? Flower. Flower is the sexual reproductive part of a plant, isn't it? You all know the parts of a flower. What are the parts of a flower? Calyx, corolla, anthidium and gynoecium. Calyx and corolla are non-essential parts of a flower because they do not directly take part in reproduction. But anthidium and gynoecium are the essential parts of the flower. These two involve directly in reproduction. So they are essential parts of the flower, isn't it? Then what are the parts of gynoecium? Gynoecium is the female part of the flower. What are the parts of gynoecium? Ovary, style and stigma, isn't it? This ovary encloses the ovule. Now we are going to learn about the structure of ovule. Okay, the major part of the ovule is called nucellus. What is nucellus? The major part of the ovule is called nucellus. It is covered by two layers called or enclosed by two layers called integuments. Okay, that is ovary wall. It is covered by two layers called integuments. These integuments leaving opening which is called micropyle. So what is the opening of an ovule? Called micropyle, which is the major part of the ovule, nucellus. Okay, this nucellus is enclosed by two layers, protective layers called integuments. It leave an opening called micropyle. Now this ovary is attached to the ovary wall by a stalk. This is called funiculus. Okay, this ovary is attached to the ovary wall by a stalk called funiculus. Then the basal part of the ovule is called chalaza, or the opposite end of the ovule is called chalaza. Okay, ma'am. Then this ovary encloses a bottle structure. What is a embryo sac? Okay, it contains or encloses 7 cells and 8 nuclei. 7 cells and 8 nuclei. Okay, 3 nuclei near the micropyle. These are called egg apparatus. These 3 nuclei which is nearer to the micropyle are called egg apparatus. Okay, this egg apparatus encloses and or contains egg cell and 2 synergids. This is an egg cell or female gamete and 2 synergids. Okay, then 3 cells which are nearer to the chalazal region are called antipodals. Okay, the 3 cells towards the chalazal end are called antipodals. Then 2 nuclei which are there in the center are called polar nuclei. Polar nuclei. This is the structure of an ovule. So ovule is a female part of a flower. This ovule, inside the ovule there will be the embryo sac. Okay, ovule is covered by 2 integuments. That 2 integuments, it leave an opening called micropyle. The opposite end, that is, or the basal part of the ovule. This is the basal part of the ovule, that is called chalaza. The major part of the ovule is called nucellus. Okay, this embryo sac, this ovary encloses the embryo sac. It has 7 cells and 8 nuclei. Okay, here 3, these two together 1. So these are 8 nuclei but 7 celled and 8 nuclei. Okay, ma'am. The polar nuclei is found in the center. The cells which are the 3 cells which are nearer to the micropyle are called egg apparatus. This is egg apparatus. And 3 nuclei towards the chalazal end are called antipodals. Then there will be 2 nuclei at the center. These 2 are called polar nuclei. Okay, so embryo sac is 7 celled and 8 nuclei. Now this egg apparatus, the egg apparatus consists of an egg cell and 2 synergids. The egg cell is the female gamete. Okay, ma'am. Now this and the remaining 2 cells are synergids. This is the structure of the ovule. Then the process of sexual reproduction in flowering plants involves two important processes. One is pollination, another one is fertilization. Pollination and fertilization. The process of sexual reproduction in flowering plants involves pollination and fertilization. What do you mean by pollination? So, the transfer, this is pollen grain, isn't it? Transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of the flower is called what? Pollination. This is pollen grain. Pollen grain transfer or transfer of pollen grain from the anther. Anther contains the pollen grain or anther encloses the pollen grain, isn't it? When it gets mature, the pollen grains liberates out. So, the transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma, or it reaches the stigma. That process is called what? Pollination. Pollination is important, isn't it? Importance of pollination because it results in fertilization. The pollination results in fertilization, which leads to the formation of fruits and seeds. Then new varieties of plants are developed through new combination of genes due to cross pollination. Okay, mom? There are two methods of pollination, that is self-pollination and cross-pollination. What are the two types of pollination? Self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self and cross-pollination. So, pollination is important. Why it is important? It results in fertilization, which leads to the formation or development of fruits and seeds. Then new varieties of plants are also formed through new recombination of genes or new combination of genes due to cross-pollination. There are two methods of pollination. So, what are the two important events in sexual reproduction of in flowering plants? The two important events is pollination and fertilization. What is pollination? Transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of the flower is called pollination. There are two methods of pollination or two types of pollination, self-pollination and cross-pollination. What are the two methods of pollination? Self and cross. What is self-pollination? Self-pollination. It is also called autogamy. Okay, what is called autogamy? Self-pollination is also called autogamy. This transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of the same flower. Listen, transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or the another flower of the same plant. That is self-pollination. It is also called autogamy. What is autogamy? The transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant. Example, hibiscus. Okay, it has some advantages of self-pollination or advantages of autogamy. First one is, it is possible in certain bisexual flowers. Okay, bisexual flowers in the sense both androecium and gynoecium are present in the same flower, or male and female reproductive structures are present in the same flower, that is bisexual. So it is possible in certain bisexual flowers. Then these flowers do not depend on any agents for pollination. Certain flowers depend on agents for pollination, but this self-pollination or self-pollinated flowers do not depend on any agents. Depends on agents for pollination. Okay. Next one is, there is no wastage of pollen grain. These are the no wastage of pollen grains in self-pollinated flowers. These are the advantages in self-pollination. So you all know that what is self-pollination and advantages, isn't it? Next is these flowers, self-pollinated flowers or autogamous flowers, have certain disadvantages also. First one is, seeds formed are less in number. Okay, mom? Seeds formed are less in number. Next, endosperm is very small or minute. Endosperm is minute, therefore the seeds produce weak plants. Okay, endosperm is minute or very small. So these seeds which are formed as a result of self-pollination produce big plants. Next is new varieties of plants cannot be produced by self-pollination. There's new varieties are not produced by self-pollination. These are the disadvantages. Advantages are it is possible in certain bisexual flowers. These flowers do not, this self or autogamous flowers do not depend on any agents for pollination. Then there is no wastage of pollen, right? But disadvantages, these the autogamous flowers or the seeds spread in autogamous flowers, seeds produced are less in number. Then endosperm is minute or very small. Therefore, if endosperm is minute, the seeds produce the big plants, isn't it? Then third one is new varieties of plants cannot be developed. Next, what is the next type of cross-pollination? Okay, cross-pollination. It is also called allogamy. Allogamy, cross-pollination. What is cross-pollination is transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of the flower on another plant of the same species. Another plant, but self-pollination the same plant. But cross-pollination, the transfer of pollen grain from the anther of a flower to the stigma of the flower on another plant. That is cross-pollination. Example, it is possible in apple, plums, grapes, etc. Okay. Then this cross-pollination, it is also called allogamy. The seeds this allogamous flowers have certain advantages. Seeds germinate. Certain advantages. Seeds germinate and grow properly and developed into better plants. Okay, developed into better plants. Seeds develop and germinate properly and it can produce the better plant. Okay, that is one advantage. Second advantage is that more viable seeds are produced. More viable seeds are produced by this method. Viable seeds are produced by the new varieties of plants are developed and viable seeds are produced by cross-pollination. Then disadvantages of cross-pollination have certain disadvantages also. First one is it may fail, this cross-pollination may fail due to distance barrier. Okay, because cross-pollination is the transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of the another flower. So, because of distance barrier, this cross-pollination may fail. Okay, cross-pollination may fail due to distance barrier. Then, second one is more wastage of pollen grain because it depends on certain agents. So it is this pollen grains are carried away by certain agents. While carrying, there will be the wastage of pollen grains. So more wastage of pollen grains. Third one is it may involve some unwanted varieties. Okay, it may introduce some unwanted varieties. Then here in cross pollination, the flowers depend on agencies for pollination, isn't it? Now, these are the disadvantages of cross pollination. First one is what is the first one? First disadvantage is that this this pollination may fail due to distance barrier. Cross pollination may fail due to distance barrier. Then second one is there will be more wastage of pollen grain. Third is it may introduce some unwanted varieties. Then fourth one is the allogamous flowers or cross-pollinated flowers depend on certain agents for pollination. Okay, so this cross-pollination takes place through certain agents. Now we can learn about the agents of cross-pollination. Okay, these agents like wind, water, animals, etc., insects. Okay, cross pollination Cross-pollination is cross-pollination takes place with the help of certain agents like wind, water, animals and insects. Okay. First one is pollination by wind. Pollination by wind. It is also called anemophily. Okay, anemophily. Pollination by wind is also called anemophily. So the plants which are or the flowers which are pollinated by wind are called anemophilous flowers. These flowers should possess certain characteristic features. Okay, these flowers possess certain characteristic features. Then only this pollen grains will be carried away by wind. Okay, this anemophily. What is called anemophily? Flowers which are pollinated by wind are called anemophilous flowers. The process is called anemophily. The anemophilous flowers should possess certain characteristic feature. First one is this flowers produce enormous amount of pollen grain or more amount of pollen grain. Then the pollen grains should are small, dry, smooth and lightweight. Then only it is blown up. These pollen grains can be blown away by wind. Okay. Then these stigmas or the landing place of pollen grains, that the stigmas are comparatively large, hairy and hairy for what purpose? To trap the pollen grains. Okay ma? So these are the characteristic features of anemophilous flowers. What are called anemophilous flowers? Flowers which are pollinated by wind are called anemophilous flowers. What is called anemophily? Flowers which are the pollination by wind are called anemophily. Okay, this pollination by wind is called anemophily. The flowers are anemophilous. The flowers which are pollinated by wind should possess certain characteristic feature. This flowers must produce more amount of pollen grains. Next, the pollen grains are small, dry, smooth and lightweight. Because of these characteristic features only, they can be easily blown away by wind and it can be carried to other. These pollen grains then only landed on a particular stigmas. Okay, so stigmas are comparatively large and hairy to trap the pollen grains. Example, grasses, cacti, etc. Okay, ma. Next is by insects. Pollination by insects. This is also called entomophily. Entomophily. What is called entomophily? These flowers which are pollinated by insects are called entomophily. The process is entomophily. The flowers are entomophilous flowers. Okay, these entomophilous flowers should possess certain characteristic features. First is these flowers are brightly colored. Then only it will be attracted by insects, isn't it? Flowers are brightly colored, have smell and nectar. Then pollen grains are larger in size. Egg sign is pitted or spiny, so they can adhere on the sticky stigma. Okay, listen. So pollination by insects, it is also called entomophily. The flowers which are pollinated by insects are called entomophilous flowers. The flowers should possess certain characteristic features. Okay, the flowers are brightly colored, have smell and nectar. Then pollen grains are larger in size. Egg sign. What is egg sign? The outer layer of the pollen grain is called the egg sign, isn't it? Inner layer is intine. So the outer layer of pollen grain is pitted or spiny. That is egg sign. Egg sign is pitted or spiny. So they can adhere on the sticky stigma. Okay, ma'am. Now, this pollination by water. It is also known as hydrophily. Okay, hydro means water, isn't it, ma? Hydrophily. Pollination by water is also called hydrophily. So, flowers which are pollinated by water are called hydrophilous flowers. Okay, this the flowers also possess certain characteristic features. Pollen grains are large in numbers. larger numbers, then they can float on this flowers float on the surface of the water till they land on a stigma. Okay, the flowers possess certain characteristic features. The flowers produce more pollen, large pollen grains. Then large number of pollen grains. Pollen grains are large in numbers. Pollen grains produced are large in numbers. Next, flowers float on the surface of the flowers should possess flowers should float on the surface of the water till they land on stigma. Example: Hydrilla, Vallisneria, etc. Okay. Next is by animals. Pollination by animals. It is also called zoophily. Okay. This process is also called zoophily. So flowers which are pollinated by animals are called zoophilous flowers. Okay. These flowers also possess certain characteristic features such as flowers are brightly colored. If it is bright, it can be attracted by the animals. Brightly colored, then larger size, have scent, etc. Okay, sunbird, for example, sunbird pollinates the flowers of canna and gladiola, etc. Then squirrel pollinate flowers of silk cotton tree. Okay, so pollination by animals are called zoophily. The flowers which are pollinated by animals, that process is called zoophily. The flowers are called zoophilous flowers. Then these zoophilous flowers or flowers pollinated by animals should possess certain characteristic feature. First is these flowers should bright in color, larger size, have scent, etc. Okay. Sunbird, for example, sunbird pollinates the flowers of canna, gladioli, etc. Then squirrel pollinate the flowers of silk cotton tree. Okay, ma'am. So we all learned about the reproduction first process, that is pollination. Okay, what are the two important events in sexual reproduction in plants? Pollination and fertilization. You all know about pollination, isn't it? What is pollination? Transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of the flower is called pollination. It is of two types: self-pollination and cross-pollination. Okay, self-pollination have some advantages and disadvantages. Cross-pollination is also have some advantages and disadvantages. Okay, then cross-pollination is carried out with the help of certain agents like wind, insects, water and animals. Okay, this pollination by wind is anemophily, pollination by insects is entomophily, by water is called hydrophily, by animals is called zoophily. Okay, these are so you all know about the first event. Which is the first event in sexual reproduction in flowering plants? Which is the first event? Pollination. Okay, so you all know about pollination and the methods of the types of pollination, advantages, disadvantages, etc. Then you all know about the structure of a ovule, isn't it, ma'am? Ovary encloses the ovule. Which is the main part of the ovule? Nucellus. Which is the stalk of the ovule? Funiculus. Basal part of the ovule? Chalaza. Okay, ovule is 7-celled and 8 nuclei. Okay, ma'am. Or this egg apparatus is nearer to the micropylar end. Egg apparatus consists of an egg cell and 2 synergids. Remaining 2 are synergids. Then 3 cells towards the chalazal end are called antipodals. Okay. In the center there will be the polar nuclei. So this egg apparatus is this 7-celled and 8. This is egg cell is 3 nuclei. This egg cell is present near the micropylar end. Have an the egg apparatus together constitute egg apparatus. It consists of an egg cell and 2 synergids. Okay, ma'am. Now you all turn page 257. You all turn page children. You all turn page 257. This first choose the correct answer. Fifth one. marker. Anemophilous flowers have large feathery stigma. Okay, Anemophilous flowers have large feathery stigma. Fill in the blanks. First one, the embryo sac in a typical dicot at the time of fertilization is 7-celled and 8 nuclei, right? 7-celled and 8 nuclei. 7-celled and 8 nuclei. Then after fertilization, the ovary develops into fruit. Answer, fruit. Planaria reproduces asexually by regeneration. Regeneration. In the last class we all studied, isn't it? Regeneration. Now match the following market. Roman number 3, fission, amoeba, budding, yeast, fragmentation, Spirogyra. Next one, to state whether the following statements are true or false. Roman number 4, stalk of the ovule is called pedicel is given. It is false, isn't it? Right, funiculus. Stalk of the ovule is called funiculus. Stalk of the ovule is called funiculus. Underline the term pedicel and write funiculus. The statement is false. Underline the term pedicel and write funiculus. Next, seeds are the product of asexual reproduction. The given statement is false. Instead of asexual reproduction, you have to write sexual reproduction. Next one, the third one. Turn next page. Third one, yeast reproduces asexually by means of multiple fission. The statement is false. Write, instead of multiple fission, you have to write budding. Budding. Next one, long answer question. Roman number first one, write with a neat labeled diagram, describe the parts of a typical angiospermic ovule. With a neat labeled diagram, describe the parts of a typical angiospermic ovule. Answer is there in page 246. Structure of the ovule. Structure of the ovule. You have to mark the main part of the ovule is the nucellus, mark up to synergids. Okay. The remaining 2 cells are the synergids. So with a neat label diagram, describe the parts of the typical angiospermic ovule. Mark this answer. Then next question. Answer in a Roman number 5. Answer in a word or sentence. Second one. In which part of the flower germination of pollen grains takes place? In the second one. In which part of the flower germination of pollen grain takes place? Roman number 5. 2. Answer is stigma. Right answer is stigma. Okay. Next one, third one, name 2 organisms which reproduces through budding. Yeast, hydra. Yeast, hydra. Okay, yeast and hydra. Next question, Roman number 6. Short answer question. Roman number 6, short answer question. Fifth one, write the characteristics of insect pollinated flowers. Page 247. Answer is there in 247. Write the characteristics of insect pollinated flowers. Page 247, under the heading pollination by insects, third line. Insects, these flowers are given, these that you strike out and write. Insects pollinated flowers are insect pollinated, P-O-L-L-I-N-A-T-E-D. Insect pollinated flowers are brightly colored, have smell and nectar. The pollen grains are larger in size. The exine is pictured, spiny, etc. Okay. So, your homework is the long answer first one. Learn and write it in your notebook. And short answer fifth question. Learn this also write and learn and write it in the notebook. Then true or false 1 2 3. You have to learn and write it in the notebook. Thank you, children.